Good morning, Davey. All right, the LaFleur is in effect in 3, 2, 1. Let's see what Matt LaFleur has to say about it. Ooh.
Yo, the lies so that you never make it. Hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, candles open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lots of sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes wet. Focus on the mental, never lose like a smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto. Choose what I get to, never lose move on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we running it, maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision and pay me, it's never this way. We indigenous, maybe we winning this crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, it's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, it's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, it's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity.
Gentlemen, welcome one, welcome all to the Lion Villain Report. It is August the 31st, and we are 8 days away from NFL football. Yes, and welcome to the Villain Report. I'm your host, Russell Wayne, and I am broadcasting live with this show into our Facebook page, which is the Lions Villain Squad, approaching 53,000. Help us get to 53,000 before the season starts. Let's go and do this. All the villains that have been taking the journey with us last year all the way to the NFC Championship. Yes, the Lions Villain Squad Facebook page, the Detroit Lions News Podcast. Joe Chap and the boys, thank you. Thank you for having us in your platform right there. That's also another great place for Lions content. We are on YouTube. You can subscribe to us at JC Sports or at Villain Squad YouTube page. And we are also on the Huddle Sports Network right there. Thank you to Bill the Packer fan, and thank you to Mike the Bear fan for allowing us onto that. I guess it's kind of a trash talking network as of right now with the Frozen Thunder Network on there. And here's the thing. we believe in faith, family, and football. That's why we can have Packer fan friends. And that's why we can have friends like Mike the Bear fan, because we don't hate the person. We just hate your team because we have our priorities straight. Faith, family, and then football. We use football to create memories. We use football to have a good time, but we don't let football use us. And welcome to the program. In today's program, we're going to talk a little bit about the Lions' elite offensive line today. And there's a report that came out, of sideline report we're going to get to. And plus we can get to some roster stuff. You guys want to talk about some of the guys on the roster, some questions, some concerns, we can always get to that, because this is viewer driven content right here. And this is the Lion Villain Report for everybody that just came in. And this is our 10 a.m. thing, 6 days a week. On the seventh day, hey, we're watching football games now. We're going to watch football games on Sunday. I know that there's some football games today. If you're into the college thing, if you're going to watch a college game, I would love to know what game you plan on watching today. And then there's one other thing that was happening today, and that is going to be the clash, or the bash at Berlin today. And put a little shout out to my wrestling page right there. That's why I got the title belt in the back right there, because I'm going to watch Bash at Berlin. And Bash at Berlin actually starts at 1 p.m. because it's in Berlin. So if you are into wrestling at all and you want to go follow my wrestling page, the wrestling page is at WrestleMania Pro Wrestling Talk, if you're into that kind of thing. But most of the people on here are not into that, because we are Lions fans in here. But I just wanted to put a shameless promo out there. I wanted to say hello to Davey. He was the one that got the LaFleur. He was there before we dropped the YouTube. So good morning to Davey. You get the special shout out right there. And there is our YouTube channel. Make sure you go subscribe to the YouTube channel, especially the people that are watching on the Facebook page. If you comment on the Facebook page, I don't mind that you comment on the Facebook page or anything, but right now Facebook is not allowing our music, my theme music, to go through that I paid for from Canva, that I have the rights to use. And for some reason, Facebook still wants to ding me on the copyright. So when this broadcast is over, I'm actually going to delete the broadcast. So if you want your comment to stick, YouTube is being cool with that right now. So you can go to the YouTube channel and you can leave your comment and it will stay there forever. Just wanted you to know. Detroit Fan Man in the house. Single Dads Club in the house. Paul Jones in the house. Saturday Villain Squad bonus. This is not a bonus. We do 6 days a week here, Paul. We are moving to 6 days a week, because last year I was doing 5 days a week, and that's cool. That was fun. We were doing 5 days a week, but I always felt like I was missing something on Saturday. You know, there could be some news, or, you know, and whatever. I just enjoyed talking to you guys. I wanted to go 6 days a week, and then the seventh day we're going to be broadcasting the game live from an audio perspective next week. And man, this is the last weekend without football. This is the last weekend without professional Detroit Lions football. And I am so fired up. Paul Jones, in the words of the great philosopher Matt LaFleur. Blah, 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 blah. Let's get in there. Let's get the good philosopher in there. You got Yeah, right there is Matt LaFleur trying to explain to the audience how the Lions aren't going to be as good this year, because they're returning all of their coaches and all of their core players and got way better in the offseason, and how their team, even though they only have a 10-game sample size, Jordan Love's going to go off on everybody, and somehow this brand new defensive coordinator is going to get everybody to gel just like that. And they're just going to be great, and the Lions are going to be bad. And that's what it sounds like to me when I hear Packer fans. Whenever I hear Packer fan now, and then in the background a little bit, I can also hear just in the faint background, oh, oh, I can see him crying a little bit because you know why? You're posting stuff out and you want to trash on the Lions. That's fine. We'll let you have that. I'm not even going to argue with you. You want to talk trash? I'm just going to keep track of everything. And this is really you right now. When you're really just crying about the Lions winning the division and you didn't win the division and you're out there bragging because you split with the Lions. What is that? Your Super Bowl or something? I mean, come on, guys. What are we really doing here? You're really crying and you're waking up in the morning, you're thinking about the Lions. And that's cool. That's nice. It's finally, we got a little bit of hate going on there. There isn't these Packer fans coming on here and going, yeah, you know, we kind of felt bad for you guys for a couple of years. Now, none of that anymore. The venom is out, and your team is not as good as my team. The Lions are going to repeat, and we're going to talk a little bit about why that is today. And I wanted to talk about the elite offensive line that the Lions have. And look at that. I put a picture of David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs in there because these guys are very talented backs, and I think they get a lot of credit. And Gibbs is getting a lot more credit than Montgomery in this offseason, and I don't know why. They'll call Gibbs the top 10 back, but Montgomery, I mean, Montgomery's the second best back. If you want to even say that he is not as good as Gibbs. So if you want to say he's not as good as Gibbs, he's the second best back in the NFC North. Okay. He's better than Josh Jacobs. He's better than DeAndre Swift. He's better than Roschon Johnson. He's better than Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is the second best out of the rival backs right now. But one of the reasons why is because the Lions have an elite offensive line. And there was an article that came out from the Sideline Report, who is one of our partners through this. The Detroit Lions had one of the best lines in offense, or best offensive lines. Can't talk today. One of the best offensive lines in the NFL last year, and it seems to have gotten better. When you look at the metrics of it, it's pretty staggering. They have the number one run blocking offensive line in the NFL, and it really isn't even close. The Lions had one of the best offensive lines last season after replacing Jonah Jackson with Kevin Zeitler in free agency. Quite possibly they are even better heading into this year. Zeitler's presence will move Graham Glasgow from right guard over to left guard, a position that he's played there for a while, but Pro Football Focus, PFF, had Glasgow ranked as the 8th best guard in the league last year. So if you're moving him, you better be upgrading. So Glasgow's PFF running grade last year was 82.1, was the 5th best at the position. And Zeitler's run blocking grade was 88.4, which was the 2nd best at his position. Lions center Frank Ragnow was PFF's highest graded center at run blocking at 88.8. And with the top run blocking grade at the position at 91.3. And the Lions offensive tackles, Penei Sewell and Taylor Decker, are the respectively the number one run blocker in Penei Sewell at 95.1, and Decker coming in the top 20 at 73.9 run blocking grade. This unit is insane, guys. This unit is going to open up holes for these elite backs. You know, you're thinking that Jahmyr Gibbs is one of the best backs in the league. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. I apologize for that. I am here by myself with my son. I set him up with some juice and some whatnots like that. But let me see what you what you guys got going on in here. Steven says, not to mention the much improved defense, back end, and so last year almost got us to the big dance. That's a big thing when you're really looking at that. It's like this Lions team. It's like it's hard to believe that you go to the NFC Championship and upgrade in the ways that they have, right? And it's hard to believe that you can lose a guy like Jonah Jackson. And no disrespect to Jonah Jackson. Jonah Jackson had his moments of being really good. He got his money because he's a good guard. We just weren't going to pay him $17 million a year. And by the way, he's probably going to be playing center in a week. But yet, I still have a whole bunch of Rams fans that are coming into my DM, or I should say the Villain Squad DM, saying that we have no chance against the Rams, that they're going to get all this revenge against us. And I just don't see it. I just don't see it. You got too many moving pieces, and we're coming in fired up. I mean, you're going to go into Detroit on on Sunday night with that crowd, with the best home crowd that you're going to see. You talk about a rabid Lions fan base that is going to be the 12th man this year. There's not going to be any more of an advantage. The Lions fans around here are fired up, and we're ready to go. We're ready. We're locked and ready to go. We don't feel like we're going to regress. And the Lions have never done that before. So there are some people out there that are skeptical to that. And I mean, I guess understandably, because there's no history to say that we could ever repeat as division champions, but that's going to happen this year. That's going to happen this year. They are going to repeat as division champions because, you know, nothing happens forever. And just like the Lions are going to get their first Super Bowl this year. And it's because of all of these upgrades right here. You bring in Kevin Zeitler, and you're going to be able to run on that right-hand side. Frank the Tank, Zeitler, and Penei Sewell. You're going to be able to run right behind that. And these are elite running backs in two different forms. You do have a thunder and lightning and very different skill sets. And no one's even seen Sion Vaki yet, and you can see what he can do. Jeremy B's in the comments right here. Good morning to Russell and the villains. The villains. We are representing villains. We are all the villains here because we love being the villain of the NFC North, which means that we got a target on our back. It means that they're all coming after us. Excited to see the Mean Machine versus Bishop Sycamore in the National Penal League. All right. Is that a quote from Major League? What we thinking Lions versus Rams? I think that we're going to put it to them. I'm going to come out there. I believe that the Lions are so fired up with that offensive line and being physical at the point of attack that I think this game's going to be over by halftime. I think the Lions are going to put the whooping on this Rams team, and they're going to arrive on that scene because everybody thinks this is going to be a good game. I don't. I think our offensive and defensive lines are going to dominate this game because last year in that playoff game, Matt Stafford had himself a game with Puka Nacua, and they still weren't able to run. So our run defense got even better. I mean, by the way, you're doing that run defense with Aleem McNeil and who? I don't know, Quentin Bohanna, whatever guys that you were going to rotate in there, Isaiah Buggs and Benito Jones. I mean, don't tell me about DJ Reader being injured. Maybe he might be injured, but the version of Levi Onwuzurike is better than anybody that was on that yesterday or last year. The guys that we have, the Josh Pascal, Kyle Pecco, they're better than Benito Jones. Really, these guys aren't even really NFL players that we had playing in those spots. It is going to be unrecognizably different for the Rams. They moved offensive linemen all over the place. You're missing your starting tackle. You're missing a starting guard. Missing the starting center. Now you're moving a guy that doesn't play center to play in Jonah Jackson. You hired him to be a guard, and you're going to go up against this defensive line in week 1? I'm sorry. You're running into a whirlwind right here. I would be shocked if the Lions were to drop this first game. I know that anything's possible, but there's going to be the 12th man, and Puka Nacua is not going to be guarded by Kendall Vildor this year. Puka Nacua is going to be guarded by Carlton Davis. Amik Robertson's going to be out there. Terrion Arnold, the rookie, is going to. We have the defensive backs to match up against any wide receiver core, including the Green Bay Packers. They go 4 deep in that. You think you're deep on wide receiver? We got cornerbacks that can cover all your guys. It is what it is. Right there. Happy Saturday, Villains. Elise Memes in the house, the queen of memes. And we appreciate you and everything that you do for the page and all of the great stuff that you have out there. And the fact that you can just make stuff. Like I might say something on here and then you turn it into a meme. We love that about you, Elise. We love that about you. You are a good villain. And Rams have a lot of O-line issues. Yeah, I think that we're going to truck stick these guys. Now we're going to get into the predictions next week, and we'll be talking about that game all week long. But I'm so fired up, man. 8 days out, I'm ready to run my mouth because I've had all these Ram fans in our DM talking about how they're going to come kick our ass. They're going to get revenge on our team with no Aaron Donald, with defensive and offensive linemen that have never played in the league before. And you're going to go against us? Pack a lunch. Holy crap. You're going to take all these Braden Fisk. And I know that Jared Verse might be a great player, right? That's fine. But he's playing his first game. And guess what? He's going up against Penei Sewell. And that's just nothing? Oh my gosh. You talk about Lion fans being homer. At least we built our team up. And I'll tell you what, we're gonna talk our trash here because it could all be over. If they follow suit and the pundits say, oh man, they're gonna fall off because they always do after they win, they lose. So if they do that, then what do we have to lose? Lion fans are used to disappointment. Like you can't hurt us anymore. If we're bad, we're bad. But I tell you what, I don't know that we're bad. As a matter of fact, I don't think we're gonna be bad. I think that we're gonna be really, really good. And they're just gonna have to deal with it. Not to mention our much improved defense in the back end. Yeah, we hit that. I hit that one. I went too far right there. Left tackle suspended 2 weeks. Right tackle on a 4-week IR. Center is out. So Jonah Jackson has to start at center. And now his Mangino. Now that his Mangino quit hurting. And Zeitler is a better pass blocker than Jonah. Jonah's a better run blocker. I think Jonah's a better run blocker than Zeitler. But you're definitely right on him being a better pass blocker. And what's more useful for this Lions team anyway? I mean, really, if you have the right guard, and they're very comparable. I mean, Zeitler's just a better all-around player. And there's nothing against Jonah on that. It's just Jonah's had some injury problems the last couple of years, and we just weren't going to pay him. We're just not going to pay him the the 17 million a year. He just, he hadn't earned that for sure. Oh, damn. Happy Saturday, Elise Meme, Singles Dad Clubs in the house, Paul Jones. I think that we could have at least 700 yards. I think I could rush for 700 yards. Paul Jones ready to suit up. You ready to go in there as running back 5, Paul Jones? I'm going to make a call. I'm going to go ahead and make a call for you, and I'm going to see what I can do right there. I say we have an amazing running back duo and possibly the second best depth at the NFL at the position, for sure. I think that we have the best depth at running back. I mean, what is wrong with Craig Reynolds? Come on, Craig. Come on, Craig Reynolds. And then you have the rookie Sion Vaki, and this kid, he might be the next Amon-Ra St. Brown with the way that he's trending in there. And I love me some David Montgomery, but the Lions have the right now set, and they have the future set. So when David Montgomery moves on in 2 years or next year, we're going to have the built-in replacement for these guys. And they've been doing that at every position. So they're running this fluid salary cap, and that's pretty cool. Go Lions from William in the house. David says, get Rammy. And L, get Rammy. Is that what it is? I certainly hope that you're not trying to trash talk on here. I don't know. Is that an L for us? Are you saying that that's going to be an L for the Lions? I need you to back that up. But you might just be, you might not be predicting the Rams in that, but let me Jeremy B says we're in pretty good shape depth wise. It's PFF still ranks our O-line room as number 1 in the NFL. Yep. And I know that PFF isn't the end all be all, but it's a metric that actually measures offensive line. So it saves me from having to go to an offensive line guru just so he can break down all this stuff and, going through and grading every play. And I do like PFF for that reason, just for the offensive line, because nothing else really grades the offensive lineman like PFF does. Shout it from the rooftops, J Mommy. Rams are in for a whooping for sure. Okay, David's on. I couldn't tell if your comment was supporting or not supporting, and I challenge a Ram fan to come in here. You try to tell me why. Why could the Rams win? I mean, it certainly can't just because of Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford's not going to stay upright in that game. I almost feel bad about the beating he's going to take in this game. I pray for the most healthy offensive line. They hardly ever play together. And that's a scary thing for the rest of the NFL too. I mean, there's this thing called depth. And the Lions have depth too. And the biggest reason the Lions have depth, I don't think is necessarily the player. I think it's Hank Fraley. Because if you watch the preseason tape, that offensive line, I mean, whether it's Sorsdal, whoever, Kingsbury, whoever they had in there with their makeshift offensive line because we didn't want to play any of our starters, or even some of our backups. Like, that unit is so well coached. It almost looks like these guys, like when they're going to the outside, it's almost like they got like magnets, and the defenders are like a piece of metal, and it's like they're like, and they create these spots, and they're so well coached, and the technique. I don't know the nuances. I don't like watch that tape and can give you the bend and all that stuff like that, but I can see it with my eyes. If a guy's, using proper technique when he comes in to get the block, when they set the block, when they're getting to the space to do their block, they're always in the right spacing, and it doesn't matter who's out there. So the Lions are deep at offensive line, and last year the guys had playoff experience with some of our depth. Coyote's a fine guard backup. He has NFL experience. He goes out there and he plays well. I mean, nobody's gonna be Frank Ragnow or just replacing Jonah Jackson from last year. You're not just gonna come in and be that high level, but you just don't want the dip off to be that much. And when you got other elite players next to you, it's all good, man. Like you can bring in other players and they can do just as well because they're coached so well. Because Hank Fraley is one of the best O-line coaches in the league. So the Rams O-line is full of injuries. Yes, they're into it. The Rams are the Rams by name this year, and that's it. Every time some other fan base said to us last season, good luck stopping this guy in the run game, the Lions defense answered the call. Yeah, no one's running on us. No one's running on us. You got the progression of Pascal and Levi Onwuzurike just in depth, and especially if DJ Reader ends up playing week 1, nobody's running on us, guys. I can't wait. Like, if you have any type of doubt about what this Lions team is going to do on the defensive side of the ball with DJ Reader, I just can't wait for you to see it. When you see it, because I can't wait for me to see it, because I can't even put it into my mind what that's going to be like and what DJ Reader can do. And this dude is a dude. I mean, I'm talking he demands a double team, and I think that he's going to teach Broderick Martin his ways. And Broderick Martin is a dude too that needs to learn more. And he's not even going to be able to play the first 4 weeks, but he's going to have a guy like DJ Reader to help him pull out the most potential in himself. And I love the Lions defensive line starters and the depth stuff, like even going down to Mekhi Wingo. You got hope all the way down the depth chart. Like, oh yeah, oh man, DJ Reader went out. Well, you got Levi to step in. Oh no, Levi went out. Okay, well you got Kyle Pecco to step in. Oh, he went out. Well, you can put in Mekhi Wingo. You got guys that every time that you go down a depth, you're wondering, I wonder how good this next guy can do. So, Steve says Rams 42 or Lions 42, Rams 14. I love that. Hey, and Dave says preach it, and I'm gonna preach it because we're 8 days away. I've been doing this analyst stuff along with Jeremy B and Mike. We've been doing this analyst stuff all season long. We've seen the potential, and going into OTA, pump the brakes, wait till they put the pads on, and then they put the pads on, and you're like, okay, they're still there. Okay, well, wait till training camp's over, and then you go and you wait till training camp's over, and they're still good. So every single time you move the goalpost, these guys are making it happen. So now I want to see it happen in a real game, because that's the only thing that the people that don't believe in it, oh, you got to wait and see first. Well, everybody has to wait and see. Everybody's got to wait and see. So I can't wait to see it, and I don't think that it's gonna end well for the Rams. And I may have to come on here and eat crow, because I'm coming out here. I'm pumping my chest out with this. We are gonna beat the crap, and I'm gonna set it. We're going to beat the crap out of the Rams. The country band. Yeah, all right. Lions. Texans versus the Lions Super Bowl would be epic. J Mommy says that I should have said 3-1 against each of the North teams. And yet they talk about the only game that they beat the Lions in the last 2 years. Yeah, I love all the smack talking. I love all the smack talking, like especially Bear fans. I mean, you move out Justin Fields, you bring in Caleb Williams. And now, because Justin Fields had a good game against us last year, you just think that your team just got better and our team stood still. And now, since you were so close and you probably should have won both of those games, now you're going to win because we didn't do anything in the offseason. And that's the most hilarious thing about most fan bases is all they do is look at their own depth charts and look at their own things. And I acknowledge I've been looking at all these depth charts and all of these teams got better, but we got better. We got dramatically better in the spots that gave us problems last year. And the spots that weren't giving us problems last year is going to have another year of progression. When you talk about like our defensive line and our linebackers, our back end, I mean, you don't think that putting Brian Branch back to his natural position because now you have the cornerbacks to play up front, that's not going to help the team? You don't think Jack Campbell sliding into that middle linebacker role, earning that spot in the middle of last year, having the whole offseason to prepare for it, you don't think that he's going to be a better linebacker in his second year with the depth of Alex Anzalone and Barnes? Like, every position that the Lions have is deep with a bunch of dudes that are in their senior year. And when I say senior year, I mean like year 4 with these guys. Year 4. And most teams like the Packers, they're expecting us to believe that this brand new defensive coordinator is just going to come in and, oh yeah, look at the magic gel. It's just going to be good. Because why? Because you're the Packers? It's just going to be good because you're the Packers? Give me football reasons. You got to learn the defense. You're switching schemes. Like your whole roster, besides the guys that you drafted, Green Bay Packer fan, is full of guys that played 3-4. They played in a 3-4 defense. I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe Jeremy can help me out on this, but they got Xavier McKinney from the Giants. What did they play in a 4-3 or a 3-4? Maybe he has the most experience out of anybody that's coming onto the team. But everybody that played on your team last year played in a 3-4. So you're just going to learn a 4-3 and it's just going to work. And you're going to play at a high level against other people that have had 3 years of experience in the same system with no coaching changes. That's the best thing that the Lions have going for them. It's not the players. It's the progression. It's progression in having the same coaching staff and position coaches. And the position coaches that changed were definitely upgrades. Terrell Williams, that dude is a defensive line guru. You don't think that's going to help our young defensive linemen? Holy crap. Oh, I'm so fired up. Let's go Lions, one pride, NFC North champions, the title, all grit, never back down. All right, you want the NFC champion there, or NFC North champion right there. We are the villain of the NFC. I feel bad for the Minnesota Vikings and all their injuries because I actually thought they had, and they still do, I think they have the potential to surprise some people this year. I still think they're going to finish in the bottom of the division. But I believe that they're going to be better than what people think they are. I think Sam Darnold's going to do better with this, this offensive skill position set, even though it's only Justin Jefferson for the first few weeks. You got Justin Jefferson and Aaron Jones. And you got Addison's going to miss some time because he was a dumbass. And that's all good. But they did lose. I didn't realize that they had lost KJ Osborne. I was looking at the thing. I thought that they still had him, but nope. KJ Osborne goes to New England. So somebody might want to try picking up on your fantasy team because he might move his way up that depth chart. But this is the Lion Villain Report. We're talking about our elite run blocking offensive line today. Villain Report, you can catch me live 6 days a week, 10 a.m. in the mornings. This is viewer driven. So if you guys got some questions, make sure you get them in there. I'm sure that Jeremy will answer all of them too through there. We develop players better than any other team. That's right. Awasika, Skipper, decent. Sorsdal, meh. What do you mean, meh? Sorsdal had a great preseason. Sorsdal was one of the best offensive linemen on the team. I'm sorry, I don't agree with you on that one. I mean, Sorsdal, maybe meh last year, but I mean, you're talking about a 5th round rookie that came from William and Mary. You know, he and I'm not going to say that he didn't have struggles at the beginning, but they came in the offseason. He took his offseason serious, and he's a guy back there now. I mean, let's really look at that. Where we got the PFF. Let me look at my PFF for what Sorsdal did in the preseason. And that's fine if like, oh, it's just preseason. I get that. I'm not good, but the thing is like we have to go recency bias, right? I mean, you can't just say a second year player is going to be trash just because, you know what I'm saying? Colby Sorsdal, 74.9 and 78.1 in offense and in defense, where he's talking pass blocking and run blocking in game 3 of the preseason. In preseason game 2, we have maybe Colby, Mr. Sorsdal. Where'd you go? Let me see you, Mr. Sorsdal. I don't even know if he played in that second game. He had an 83.9 pass blocking grade. Struggled a little bit in the run blocking in that game, but I mean, that's elite. That's elite right there in those games. And let's see. And in game number 1, he did not have a good game. So, but they had him switch some positions. He's no longer a guard, and they're putting him at backing up, doing the swing tackle thing, playing his natural position that he played in college. So Sorsdal, I mean, he's a developing player. As a matter of fact, he, to me, reminds me a lot of, you know, the way I feel about Hendon Hooker. You know, I don't think Hendon Hooker is ready to go out there and be a starter right now. Week 1, but I think that by week 6 or 7, after having the practices, because last year he didn't get any practices, Bridgewater took all the stuff. So Sorsdal's the same way. He's continuing to get work in. He continues to get better, and he's only in his second year of a rookie contract, and we don't need him to go in there right away because he's the 3rd tackle, not the 2nd tackle. Dan Skipper's good. So for a 3rd tackle, I might have to disagree with you a little bit then. J Mommy says all 22 speaks very highly of Reader. Yeah, and these are guys that analyze film. That's another guy I trust right there. All 3 of those guys on the O-line in wins last year. All 3 of those guys were on the O-line in wins last year. Yes, they were. And they got valuable game experience in there. And David says, welcome to Detroit. We hit harder, Motor City muscles. 8 days till the butt whooping begins. Let's go. Dale, what up, doe? Yeah, let's hit this. Now, I see notifications of Micah to the Lions. No. And then Jeremy immediately comes in. It's with clickbait. This type of nonsense right here. I didn't even have that. I thought about making this a topic, but because you brought it up, I will speak on it. I get so sick of these clickbait BS things that Brad Holmes will never. Yeah, there's if it was a good deal, you're not going to bring Micah Parsons over here. You're not going to pay him. You know why you're not going to pay him? Because he wasn't in the trenches with us since 2021, 2022, 2023, like the guys that we paid. There's zero chance that the Lions are going to trade for an elite player to come from a different squad to come over here so we can pay him right away. What type of message is that going to send to our locker room? Aleem McNeil is about ready to get a payday. But instead of getting your payday, we're going to bring in a guy that hates Detroit, that says nobody ever wants to get traded there, and then we're going to pay him instead because he might get a couple more sacks. I don't want Micah Parsons on this team. Screw Micah Parsons. Oh, what if you could get him for a third-round draft? I don't want Micah Parsons on my team for any trade amount. Keep that cancer away from the team that is all about himself. Yeah, he might get 2 more sacks, 5 more sacks than somebody, but he's going to be a cancer to the team. Right now, the regime has everybody in a trust spot right here. Aleem McNeil's the next guy to get paid. And then the one after that is going to be Aiden Hutchinson. There's zero chance we're going to trade for a high, an elite player from outside of the organization. We develop our own here. So Jeremy hit it right on. Clickbait. Hey, I want to get some extra clicks. So I'm going to say, hey, what if we trade for Ayuk? Oh, we need another wide receiver. We can just pay him. Get the hell out of here with that. Total clickbait. Total clickbait. Micah hates Detroit. Right. Exactly. Greetings from Mexico. I'm a Lions fan since 1989. That is awesome. Shout out to my equator buddy, Novi. Probably a lot warmer down there right now than it is up here. Even though it is not too bad. It's a beautiful day here in Michigan. Nice 70-degree day. Multiple fronts. And a New York Giants under Wade last year. Russell, he used a 0 blitz scheme. Yeah, I mean, all these guys got to learn a brand new defense. And I think that you're talking about my comment about the Green Bay Packers. It's like, I'm not saying that the Green Bay Packers can't be good this year. I mean, as a matter of fact, I think they are going to be pretty good because they got a lot of talent on the roster, and I do believe LaFleur is a pretty good coach. But just to expect this instantaneous transformation and everybody just buying in and it just working from every player standpoint, like you don't even know if you have any good players in this new system. I mean, I don't even know who this defensive coordinator is. He doesn't have NFL experience. It's Matt LaFleur's buddy. David says, faith, family, and football. Have a great day, villains. Thanks, Russell. Thank you. Thank you, David, for watching the program. Big M, Hutch is going to have a special season. He will be considered the best defensive end after this season. That is bold. That is bold by Big M. Big M put it out there. Look at Big M coming in with big opinions right there. Hutchinson going to be the best defensive end in the NFL this year. Love it. I love that hot take. You like that? Addison is missing 4 weeks to an injury, returns to court on October 8th. Okay, so his is an injury and eventually it's going to be a suspension for being a dumbass. Okay, cool. Sorsdal's inconsistent, but decent this preseason. I don't think it's fair to call him inconsistent in a rookie year. I mean, it's true. It is true. But most rookies, especially late round rookies, are inconsistent. And that's the idea is like when you draft a guy in the 5th round, you're not drafting the guy to be your starter. And if you're starting 5th round rookies, it's usually not a good thing for your team. So That's a statement. That's a statement of inconsistent. I can feel that from last year, but you drafted the guy and he was a tackle from a small school, and you asked him to play guard. So I understand inconsistency. Same thing with Manu. Manu too. Like Manu is inconsistent, but he shows the flash as a pass blocker. So, you're developing these guys. And it's a good thing that these guys are on our team, and they're only going to need to come in when somebody gets injured. So, as of right now, you don't think right now it's okay because you got all your starters. Steve says, "You think this is Decker's last dance? Like this year? Are you asking me about this year? I mean, because they signed him to a 3-year deal, so this is this 3 years is probably his last dance, and we'll have to see at the end of that. But he said he wanted to retire a Detroit Lion, and he's playing this year, next year, and a year after that. Get a couple Super Bowls. There you go. We've never won a Super Bowl before, and here I am. Yeah, I get a couple of them. Let's get a couple Super Bowls. Let's dominate this league for a couple years. Because the thing that is the most scary thing about any team is progression. And there is no team that is progressing like the Detroit Lions. So we may be ahead of the curve in a lot of these ways. And I think they're going to show it. I think that we're going to show a mid-season form type of team in week 1. And people are going to talk about that. You watch it. You watch it. You can come back here. It's August 31st. Russell Wayne from the Villain Report is talking about that. Is Lions are going to come out in mid-season form. And they've been thinking about since this offseason. And they're not going to run out of gas either because this team is built like that. They've trained their bodies to last all the way through the playoffs this year. They know that it takes more. I mean, that's the mantra of what we're going through this year. The guys on the team know that the Lions have never repeated as division champions before, ever in the history. They know that. They know that it takes more. They know that it's a harder schedule. We have a first place schedule. They know this, and they went into it, and they embraced it during the offseason. And all these guys, there's a bunch of guys ready just to break out. Good morning. It's a great day to be a Lion. What's up? Fred Peterson's in the house. Fred Peterson up in the house. Single Dads Club. Hendon behind our starting O-line would be a different Hendon. We were talking about that a little bit yesterday. Single Dads Club was like everybody that gives Hendon a hard time whenever he does well. Oh, you went 11 for 14. Well, that was against the backups. Well, yeah, but that was also with backups protecting him. That was also with backup running backs and backup wide receivers and backup tight ends and guys that may be working at the factory. So Hendon, if he does come in, he's coming in behind our starters. He's coming in behind our starters. He's throwing the ball to Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta and Gibbs out of the backfield. It's a different deal. I think that it makes him better coming through if he knows how to run the offense. That's why when I watched Hendon Hooker play, I didn't look at the stats. I don't care what the stats are. I want to watch you drop back, look at your first read, look at your second read, look at your third read, get that timer, and if you don't have anything there, then you take off and run. And I watched his timer very closely during every one of his snaps. And it is something that he most definitely progressed in from not just from game to game, but from series to series. You could see him, the game slowing down to him within this offense. And that's with a bunch of backups. You think that's going to get worse? Oh, well, what's going to happen when you go up against ones? Well, we're going to have our ones to protect him. And our ones are better than your ones. So I argue that Hendon Hooker will be even better against starters than he was in the preseason against backups. just because we have better. I think he's going to drop back the pass. Hendon Hooker drops back the pass, and his timer is going to be telling him that he needs to go. And he's going to be like, man, I still got time. So I believe in that single dads club. I agree with you. Thank you for the comment. What up, FFP? Fred Peterson says, sorry I'm late. Was up too late having a fire at a buddy's house over an hour away. Shaking my head. I get too old for these late nights. I feel you, man. I was listening to podcasts and I looked up. It was 2:00 in the morning. And I couldn't sleep because I've been thinking about this stuff. Clickbait season is upon us. Well, luckily, clickbait season is almost over. Gosh, you want to talk? You know what clickbait season is, Paul? Is like in February, like 2 weeks before the free agency hits. And then every trade rumor that you can imagine goes out there to every single team. Well, we don't know what free agency thing. Wow, what's it going to be like if we can get Danielle Hunter? Oh, what's it going to be like if we can get Grenard? Oh, what's it going to be like if we could sign Van Ginkel? Oh, what's it going to be like? Oh, how would this be a good fit? Would this be a good fit? Would this be a good fit? Oh, Lions have all this money. What are they going to do? Like, it's February, I think, and it really ends like after I'm done with this show. I'm probably not going to have to worry about it as much anymore because Monday we're going to start game planning. Monday we're going to come onto this program and we're going to start really diving in and talking about these matchups, these week 1 matchups of real football that's going to be happening. Packers have a really good starting roster, but it falls off dramatically after the starters go down. And that's a good argument right there because they made more waiver claims than any team in the NFL, which means that they're shuffling, trying to find some guys for the back of their roster. But they have a decent starting roster, that's for sure. But their entire starting defensive roster has never played in a 3-4 before. So I expect them to take a while. I think they're going to take an L going and playing Philadelphia in the first week. Parsons would not be happy with the greeting that he would get from Lions fans. It could break the record for the loudest crowd at a game. Micah Parsons is not coming here. I mean, stop with the nonsense. Whoever's making this stuff up for your clickbait right here. And did you see the trade package? Let's entertain this garbage and tell me if Brad Holmes would think of doing this. And it's so dumb, I can't even talk about it. Oh, Micah Parsons. So the Lions get Micah Parsons. And in this trade scenario, the Lions give up not 1, but 2 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and then one of our offensive linemen on top of that. Oh, wait, and David Montgomery for Micah Parsons, for a guy that doesn't even want to be here. And then on top of that, once he gets here, he wants a bag. So we're going to give up our entire future and all of the assets that they've been accumulating because they've been doing smart cat moves to do the most idiotic cat move ever, to bring in Micah Parsons and tell the rest of your defensive line who's been working their asses off to be that next guy on the opposite of Hutchin, that their hard work doesn't matter, that they're going to do that. It's nonsense. There's no way that they're going to trade all of those assets away. As a matter of fact, Brad Holmes is a G. Brad Holmes is a G. I would rather see Brad Holmes make those first-round picks than to have Micah Parsons. the 2 first-round picks that we're going to get because we didn't trade for Parsons are going to be better than Parsons. Maybe not individually, but those 2 picks. Like, and then you're going to trade David Montgomery. Like, we can't do that. You want to go backwards 3 steps on offense and your future to take a small step forward on defense and really render half of your defensive end room useless. Because if you pay all that money to Micah Parsons, you're not going to need guys to spell on the other side of Hutchinson. Hutchinson plays 90% of the snaps. If you go get Micah Parsons, he's going to play 90% of the snaps. And then you're not going to need all of those extra defensive linemen to spell. Right now, they have it set up the way they want to set it up. And what is that? Hutchinson on one side taking 90% of the snaps. And then you have a matchup, a 3-way matchup on the other side with James Houston, Josh Paschal, and Marcus Davenport that are going to be rotating in and out playing the matchups. Right now, that works. That to me works better than Micah Parsons. And maybe I'm talking out my ass for that, but that would work better than Micah Parsons because Micah Parsons rushes the way that Micah Parsons rushes. Josh Paschal rushes different than Marcus Davenport, which rushes different than James Houston, who rushes different than Levi Onwuzurike. You got matchups that you can play. Well, this offensive lineman doesn't do as good against a speed rush. Well, that's where you throw James Houston out there. Well, this guy doesn't handle the bull rush very well. Well, that's when you throw Marcus Davenport out there or Levi out there. You can play matchups with our defensive line, and there's no way. Stop it with the Micah Parsons things. It's okay. Anybody watching football today? Yeah, there's some football in there. The only team Parsons has mentioned playing for is the Bear because he likes Caleb. It's been a rumor that Parsons to the Bear for the last week. It would be similar to when the Bears traded for Khalil Mack. Yeah, that would be dumb for you guys to do that too. You guys have spent through your money in with the Bears, and you've done a great job. The Poles has done a great job. This would be a tragedy for them to do this and throw another max contract out there because it would make you really good this year, but it doesn't help your future. But Ryan Poles is setting you guys up to compete for a long time, and a move like that, to 2 first-round picks, a 3rd-round pick, some players. You're going to have to give some of your players up too. They ain't going to give Micah Parsons away. And then you're going to have to pay him $30+ million. Do you want to do that, broski? I wouldn't think that would be smart. Brad Holmes is a Walmart shopper. He won't trade for no, it would be stupid for him to trade for Parsons. It would be the dumbest move that Brad Holmes has made. And, a Walmart shopper, you know why he's a Walmart shopper? It's because he drafts well. And we draft and develop our own players. Anybody that's coming in from the outside, we want to bargain on. The core of our team, the best players on our team are on rookie contracts right now. And all of the guys that you complain about on our team that you say that ain't going to be good are guys that they brought in from the outside. But that's not the guys that you have to worry about. You have to worry about the guys that have been on our team for 3 years and continue to get better. Jay-Z Truth. Parsons costs too much. I don't think that he is a Dan and Brad kind of player. He shit on the team. Like, nobody wants to go to Detroit. We don't want him here. The fans don't want him here. Unfortunately, Parsons, he came out as a team guy for Dallas at first and foremost. Can't ignore his own words, what he said, staying in Dallas. Jay Mommy says, after going to school shopping, I will wait until the end of the last day. Definitely have to, definitely already have been watching what games I can. Broski says, I'm about to watch the next Micah Parsons play at noon. Penn State defensive end Abdul Carter, they play at noon at West Virginia. I heard about that game. They were talking about that game on Crunch Time last night, Broski. It's good to see you in here, man. I love seeing the different fan bases in here, and you represent the Bears well. Jay Mommy said, I've seen a couple people think that Penn State can lose to West Virginia. I'm a Big Ten fan. Kneecaps. I'm going to say this now. Micah Parsons is what Davenport could be if healthy all year. That's a pretty bold statement. I don't know if I'm willing to go there with Davenport. And the cool thing is we don't have to, we don't have to tout Davenport all that much, because really, if he provides anything, it's going to be a surprise to all three of the fan bases, including Broski, because I don't think that Broski would expect anything out of Davenport. And I'm not going to sit up here and, beat a drum for Davenport quite yet. I mean, it seems like he's completely healed up from that ankle injury, Jeremy. And it does give me a little bit of hope in there. We'll have to see what he can do. He didn't play much in the preseason, which is actually a good thing when it comes to Dan Campbell. If you're not playing, that means that they feel pretty good about you. So I think that he could have a really, really good year. And it has more to do with the interior of our defensive line, with the depth there, with what we have, than anything else, because you demand double teams and you're gonna get a lot of one-on-one looks. Davenport's gonna get a lot of one-on-one looks. He'll probably get more one-on-one looks than Hutchinson would. Last 3 seasons, 16 games played, about 11.5 sacks for Davenport. Yeah, but he's never played a full season, Jeremy. Ever. He's never played a full season. So when somebody says pump the brakes on Davenport, I completely agree with the pump the brakes on Davenport thing. But I don't feel the same way about DJ Reader, because DJ Reader had a quad surgery. He tore his quad, and then he recovered from that quad surgery, and he helped take Cincinnati to a Super Bowl the year after he did that. Now, if he had tore the same quad, I would actually side with Broski on this and say pump the brakes on DJ Reader. But he tore a different quad, and he already know how to recover from that. He's already familiar with the rehab process, and he probably is going to do it even better this time around. So I believe that he's going to recover from this injury. It doesn't mean that he's not going to get a different injury, but I think that he's going to come back in, and our medical staff is good. I think DJ Reader, I have more confidence in him than I do Davenport. Kneecap biting, Jeremy. I love you, man, but an absolute ridiculous statement. Parsons can play linebacker as well. Parsons is levels above Davenport. It's I got to agree with you on that one, Broski. Fred Peterson says getting Parsons on a deal would be completely eliminate everything that Holmes has done. Right. And that's what it is, right? I mean, hey, I would love to have Patrick Mahomes on my team, but it ain't going to happen, guys. I mean, it would be nice to have Parsons on this team if they had drafted him, and I'm sure he wouldn't have talked all that crap if we would have drafted him instead of Penei Sewell, and then they would have Penei Sewell. I mean, I don't know. I don't even want to think about that, because Penei Sewell is a better tackle than Parsons is at rushing the passer. I mean, look at what happens when they face each other. Parsons gets a nada, nothing. When they go one-on-one, Sewell owns Parsons. So Sewell's better. Give me Sewell. I'll keep Sewell. Davenport has only started 35 games in 6 seasons. Yeah, Parsons has got a lot to prove. I think that the way that, but here's one defense on this, broski. I want to say this about Parsons, or not Parsons, but Davenport. Is Davenport has been asked to be the man. Like, you're bringing him in like the Minnesota Vikings did. They brought him in to be the man opposite of Danielle Hunter. When he was in New Orleans, they asked him to be the man. They want him to be the main guy rushing the passer. That's not what they're going to ask him to do here. So I think he might have a chance to make it through all 16 games, because I don't see them putting him out there for like 80% of the snaps or something like that. I see maybe 30, 40% from any one of these opposite pass rushers, opposite Hutchinson. Again, I said if healthy. I didn't say he was Parsons. Yeah, that's a big if. That's a big if. When the biggest question mark is your health, and that's the big if he stays healthy. Now, when I give Broski a hard time about the health thing, it's not that I don't think that any of my guys are going to be healthy, but I think that the chances of all of the injury prone guys that we have, every single one of them being injured again, I think that is low. I don't know which ones are going to stay injured or which ones aren't going to stay injured, or which ones aren't. But I know that they're not all going to be injured. And if they are, then yeah, we're going to be talking about a losing season. I mean, if you have that many injuries, and all of our guys are just going to be injured because they've been injured before, then it's going to be a long year. Same thing for you guys too, broski. If all of your injury-prone guys just get injured, then you're going to have a long season. You're going to have a losing season. You don't have the depth to handle that. And, and really no team has the depth to, handle 10, 12, 13 injuries, So, again, I look at the numbers with lesser talent around him. Take care, guys. Got to go. Thank you, Single Dads Club. Always love having you on here. I love your comments. I love that a lot of the people that watch this show actually read up and have good takes. Jeremy is piecing together a season for Davenport. You know what? When it comes with a Davenport, if Davenport plays more than 10 games this year and can offer 7 sacks, I'd be happy with that. I'm not expecting some double-digit sack thing or him to be the man outside of Hutchinson. Like, a really good season to me would be 10-plus games that he plays in and 7 sacks, 7 or more sacks. That's what I'm expecting out of Davenport. Because last year he had 2 sacks in, 4 games? So, I mean, I think under that clip, 2, 4, 6, 8, he gets a sack every other game. 10, he could have 5, 6 sacks, 7 sacks. I'm not going to be too unhappy with that. DJ, Reader, and Aleem is why I'm saying this, Russell. Okay. I'm not arguing with you, man. I'm trying to facilitate an argument that you and Broski are having right here. I'm siding with both of you guys. I mean, for Broski just to say that he's going to be injured because he was injured, I think that's weak. And I think for you to piece together 5 seasons with a sack here and there and just say, hey, if we put those together and there's a season and wow, look how good he did, I think that's weak too. It's we're not expecting him to be the starter like he was in Minnesota, right? I mean, Minnesota spent starter money. We didn't spend starter money on this guy. And what would you think, Jeremy? What would you say would be a good season for Marcus Davenport? How many games does he play, and how many sacks does it get? And you too, Broski. Like, what would Marcus Davenport have to do for you to go, okay, that was a good pickup? That was a good pickup. That was a plus for your team. You got him, and it made your team better. What would that number be for you, Broski? What would that number be for you guys? Good morning, Mr. Henry. Penei Sewell would have been a Panther at 8 if we wouldn't have. Okay, that's cool. Pecco isn't on the 53, Jay-Z. Yeah, but he probably will be. I think he will be. Well, Pecco will be on the 53 if Reader isn't ready by week 1. I'll say that. That, in my opinion, that's how Pecco makes it on. And Pecco is a guy, and that's crazy that he's on our practice squad. We're deep at defensive line if Pecco is on the practice squad. Pecco being on the practice squad tells me more about Levi Onwuzurike without saying anything about Levi Onwuzurike. Because if Levi Onwuzurike wasn't ready to go, then Pecco would be on the roster, especially with Broderick Martin being out. So I'm very, very happy with that. Jay-Z said, Broski, the biggest improvement would be in a proper secondary given the D-time, the D-line time to rush. And that's the truth. That's good. That's good. I mean, and here's another one of those things right here. Let me see if Broski's going to say anything about the secondary. The difference, I'm missing a couple of games. Okay, there's a difference between missing a couple games during a season and having year after year proven. Yeah, and that's why we only paid $6 million for him, Broski. And there's no risk beyond that. He gets a by game that he plays in bonuses. Like, we're paying him for production, and if he doesn't have production, it wasn't really that big of a risk. As a matter of fact, you want to laugh a little bit, Broski? We can laugh together. Watch this. The Minnesota Vikings are paying more for Marcus Davenport than the Lions are. You like that? You like that? Yeah. So, injury prone on the Bears. You must be talking about Swift. Yeah. Oh, I ain't even going to comment on that one. I'll just laugh at that. Russ, I think that's realistic expectation. Davenport, 10 games, 7 sacks. Okay, we agree right there. Cool. 9 sacks. TJ wants it up a little bit more. He wants 9 sacks out of our. So I hope that TJ's right. I want TJ to be right. The pass is the pass. I'm looking forward to the season. I say 33% of the snaps, around 9 sacks, and he is a pressure monster out on the field. 33% of the snaps. How many games do you think he appears in? How many games do you think that he is going to miss due to injury? Because I mean, just with the injury history, because he's never shown that he can be healthy for an entire season. That's why I'm going to put the over-under at 10. Do you think you'll have over 10 games that he plays in or under 10 games that he plays in? Throw that one into the comments. Over or under 10 games played in. Has Kaminsky been moved to IR yet? Yes, he has. So Kaminsky was moved to IR, and they officially brought Donovan Peoples-Jones onto the practice squad. And I don't know what the corresponding move is going to be on the main roster yet. I don't know that yet. The Lions practice squad is ranked the best in the NFL. It should be. I can't even believe the guys they got to come through on there. I mean, like all of Jeremy and I's favorite guys that, like the Agude and Ukwu. I mean, those guys made the practice squad. Actually, I have the practice squad up here. Let me get the practice squad up here. Hey, this has been a great show today, guys. I love the conversation in here. We're a half an hour over. My wife came home and made me feel a hell of a lot better. I can't wait to give her a hug and a kiss. And here we are. Here's the practice squad right here. Like Mitchell Agude. That was one of my favorite guys. This guy, he's one of those guys that you couldn't see as a guy that could impact your roster. But every time you ask him to do something, he's doing something. When Kansas City put their starters out there, Mitchell Agude had a tackle for loss, and I mean, he looks like he belongs. Kingsley is a center in training. Actually, if this was 2021, all of these guys would have made the main roster playing the way that they did. All of these guys. Jake Fromm, right there, was the biggest endorsement of Hendon Hooker that I've seen all week, that I've seen in the entire training camp, is bringing Jake Fromm. That says more about Hendon Hooker than you could imagine. Why would I say that? Why would bringing Jake Fromm on the practice squad say something about Hooker? Really? What does that mean? Well, I'm glad that you asked. Hendon Hooker, them bringing Jake Fromm to the practice squad tells me they believe in Hendon Hooker more than definitely the average fan does. Because if they didn't believe in Hendon Hooker, they would have brought Nate Sutfield back to the practice squad because they weren't confident in it. So they're so confident in Hendon Hooker that they were willing to bring in a guy that's only had a week in the offense to be the third quarterback. So I think that's a great thing for the Hendon Hooker club right there. And then, Jamar Jefferson, there's another guy that has just been in the system and keeps getting better, adding much more depth at the running back position. Jamarcus Jones, I've just heard things about him, but I heard that he was one of the better tackles that were on the roster. He probably would have made the roster if we weren't already so deep. Tom Kennedy, the guy will never die. There's zero chance. Tom Kennedy, there you go. You cannot do anything to Tom Kennedy. Tom Kennedy will make the practice squad forever. You try to throw him out, just like Elise says. Have you seen that? What a great meme that Elise Memes made right there, trying to throw Tom Kennedy out of the bar like in The Simpsons, and then he appears. I love it. Good stuff. Yeah, Tom Kennedy making that roster. Love that. And then, CJ Moore was the one that they had to kick off the practice squad to make room for Donovan Peoples-Jones. James Mitchell and Shane Zylstra. We have kept all of our depth at tight end. Ukwu, I know that it was Jeremy's favorite guy besides Matthew Betts. Kyle Pecco still being on there. Tim Patrick. Pat O'Connor. I mean, these guys probably would have made the roster if the team wasn't so deep before. And that's why they're considered to have the best practice squad in the league. Okay, so Jeremy's thinking that Davenport is going to play. He's taking the over. And Davenport is going to play in 14 games. Okay. And that logic that you're using is a logic that I can buy into, Jeremy. And it comes with the snap count. You get injured when you're overworking, right? And if you're expected to be the starter, he's going to be out there taking more snaps. But if he's only out there 33% of the time, like you'd said, he has a way better chance of playing in more games. TJ says over. It is what he'll miss, right? Broski's going back to the Swift games played each season. 2013, 13, 2023, and 16. Not nearly as bad as Davenport's history, Levi's history, and Mosley's history. Well, Mosley's not on the team right now. He's on the, and you were right about Mosley. And Levi, I'm not going to give you Levi right now because what Levi had to go through to get where he was at. Levi's already recovered from his injury, and Levi was available for all the games last year. He didn't spend any time. 17 games, broski. And he had a 68 point whatever PFF grading for the time they had. He only played 121 snaps last year. But the main thing that happened with Levi last year is he has fully recovered from the 2 back surgeries that he's had. And that wasn't this year, broski. That was last year. He had those surgeries before last year. That weight has kept on his body, and he hasn't had any problems since that surgery. So I'll give you Davenport, and I'll give you Mosley. You were right about Mosley, and we kind of agree with each other on Davenport. I'm not buying into his health all the way, but I am buying into Levi's health. I think that Levi will play. I would put the over-under on at 14 on him. I would put it up that high. I think he's going to play in all these games. Levi's going to be fine. That's like an anomaly type of thing. They thought his career was over, broski, and the guy worked his ass off. There's no sign of him having any kind of injury. I think that they'll have a wide receiver come up first. The biggest improvement to the Lions defense this season will be Campbell's improvement at linebacker 2. Reeder can play his usual high level. Yeah, and I'm with you on it's a cool thing that we have good depth there, because Reeder, if you're just putting him out there on down 1 and 2 on the run stuffing, I think that we actually have better pass rushers him from the interior. I think he'll actually come off the field more on third down in this defense. He does offer pass rushing ability because he anchors the double team, but putting a Leem out there with Levi Onwuzurike, both those guys on third down are going to offer more of the pass rush than DJ Reeder would. So they have a lot of guys that they can move in and out of those other positions. You got your Hutchinson over here playing all the snaps, and then your McNeil's probably going to play on all 3 downs too. But then the other guys, the other 2 positions, I think they're going to be doing a lot of shuffling around. And they have a lot of different skill sets sitting right there. Over 10 games played. Okay, wow. You guys kept me going today. Whew, almost to the end of these comments. I always wonder what Jameer needs to unlock to crack the roster. Pass blocking, special teams. It's just there's talent, Jay-Z. Jameer Jefferson is a talent thing. We got 2 top 10 running backs in the NFL in David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Craig Reynolds has been nothing but a solid running back. By the way, shout out to Craig Reynolds for actually making the roster and not being brought up from the practice squad. Congratulations to Craig Reynolds and your father for making the roster and working hard for the 3 years. I always love seeing stuff like that. Mr. Kennedy kind of opening the Lions, kind of eye-opening. The Lions now have the highest average ticket price. $254 sounds wildly expensive. Meanwhile, the Vikings at 80, Saints at 43. People used to fly to Detroit for cheap games. So, yeah, they do have the most expensive tickets, but check out the beer prices. You want to save money, you can pay the high ticket price to get in the door, but they have some of the lowest beer prices in the league. Check it out. Still eating crow about bets. It's okay. We can't get these things all right. We find our guys that we like. You can't get them all right. You can't get them all right. And I don't know if it's like Betts not making the roster or even the practice squad is really that much of a slight on him. I mean, we just had it's because of your other boy. It's because of Ukwu. I mean, Ukwu was better, you know. So was Mitchell. So it's like, you know, I'm not gonna. I wouldn't beat you up too bad on that one. The only thing I'll beat you up on, I'll give you a hard time about is you predicted him to have double-digit sacks, and he was going to be the man. Outside of that, like him not making a roster or whatever, like I'm not going to beat you up too bad for that because we had other guys that were really good, rather than him not being good. They're raising 85. They're raising 85 to the rafters and making August 1st Tom Kennedy Day. Facts, Detroit fan man. Let's go. Oh, man. And then Jay-Z in there. All right, we hit these. All right. That sometimes it's hard work through the comments. And I love that you guys stayed engaged. Like if you're watching right now, please hit that like button. The like button is free. If you like football content, I love coming on here 6 days a week. Lion Villain Report, 10 a.m., 6 days a week. And this is the last weekend without professional football. Real football games start next week. How does that make you feel? You like that? So, but we're coming to the end of the time. I'm about ready to turn a pumpkin right here. I'm going to turn into a pumpkin. But we spent some time today talking about the Lions' elite offensive line. And then you guys took over the conversation, which is what I want on every program. But the most reason why I think the Lions are going to be good is because of these guys. If something were to happen to Sewell and Decker, it becomes harder to win for sure. And Ragnow, with these guys, I mean, even our skill positions, like it's the most important that these guys stay healthy and that we maintain health on this offensive line. Because if that happens, then Goff is an elite quarterback. Goff is an elite quarterback because he would have the offensive line to protect him, and the offensive line also gives him the running game. And I don't think anybody would deny that Jared Goff is one of the best play-action quarterbacks in the NFL. But in order for play-action to work, you have to have a good offensive line and running backs. So when people tell me that Goff needs people in order to be successful, that's true. Just like anybody else, he's not going to be able to create off-platform like some of the other quarterbacks do. But when he is protected, he's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL. I put his accuracy above anybody. I put his decision-making in those protected moments above anybody because the stats show it, the metrics show it, and it is what it is. If you protect Jared Goff, he plays like a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. If you don't protect him, then you have problems. And they have the offensive line to do it. That's why they spent all this money. That's why we got all of this depth on the offensive line. Because the offensive line makes it go. And that's the biggest point I want to go. We can talk about all these guys if we want. Oh, Montgomery and the stats. Oh, I'm on Ross St. Brown and the stats. Look at these stats. Look at Laporte and these stats. Oh, wow, they're so good, these skill positions. That's fine. But without the offensive line making it go, I mean, that offensive line gives every single play a chance to work. Simple plays. Oh, I got to run off guard. Okay, well, that play is going to work better because you have a better offensive line than everybody else. That's where the Lions are separating themselves from the rest of the league, in my opinion, right there. And that's the biggest point I wanted to make today in here, is that, you know, we spend a lot of time talking about these skills, the skill positions. But it's really the offensive line that makes all these things go. J Mommy. Russ's like counter doesn't show totals yet until he gets more subscribers. Smash that like button like every Lions fan. Chat, I'm in. Subscribe to all of them too. Yeah, it does. We don't have the counter yet. I don't have 1,000 subscribers yet. We're working our way towards 1,000 subscribers right now on the YouTube page. And I don't think that we had a Saturday show for the NFL or the the Huddle Sports Network. So we still have them in the house. But Broski, I enjoy my conversation with you. I appreciate you because I know that coming on to other fan podcast is hard sometimes because you're gonna take the brunt of everybody that's gonna disagree with all of the troll takes or whatever you're trying to stay negative about the team. I appreciate you for coming in and being part of that. And I hope that I'm realistic to your team. I hope that I give your team the respect that it deserves because I don't troll just to troll. I usually come from a place of fact, and even if it's a little homeristic fact. Lions had the bad guy. Don't worry about how many subscribers you got. Worry about the quality of love of the Lions main, and the numbers will come. Don't be Micro Mike. Just worry about the love of the Lions. Okay. I didn't know I was. Am I like Micro Mike? As a matter of fact, I kind of have a rule on asking for subscribers. And it usually comes like this. John Kapler, you can take this might help you on your page. I don't bring up the subscribers unless one of the watchers brings up the subscribers. I try to hit all of the comments. And when Broski, a Bear fan, brings up the fact that you should subscribe to my channel, I like that. I like that. If I had a like button for Broski's comment, I'm probably going to go in there and like that comment because I appreciate him telling the people in the comment to subscribe to my channel. I appreciate you for that, Broski, more than you know. It is. And the bad guy's right. He's like the villain. The bad guy's not a bad guy. I don't think John Kapler's a bad guy. He's like the villain. We're just misunderstood half the time. And and I like Micro Mike. I especially like his live streams when he does the football games. I've learned a lot from Micro Mike. I learned a lot from a lot of the podcasters that are really good around here. I've learned from Jeremy B. I've learned from the Crunch Time Sports guys. I learned from Woodward Sports. Anytime I can get a nugget that I can learn about podcasting, because I don't know everything. I'm a fan. I've learned how to do everything on this platform with StreamYard and everything. I've learned it by just doing it. It's just do it and do it and do it over and over and over again. And that's it. You got to keep working, keep grinding. Because why? Why do I got to keep grinding? Because it takes more. And that's the mantra for this season. Lion fan hasn't been this excited because there hasn't been a Lions team like this in my history, where there's this much going into this season. I've never had a Lions team to where, with all health, crossing my fingers, with all this health, that this is the strongest roster that I've ever seen in Detroit. Is it going to be good enough to win a Super Bowl? I don't know. But I know that this is the best chance that we're ever going to have to win a Super Bowl in this window that we're in right now, in these next 3 years. It's not going to get much better than that. I mean, you never know. Maybe Brad Holmes is going to continue this ridiculous draft deal that he's got. But this is the Lion Villain Report. You join me every morning, 10 a.m. except for Sundays, which is game day. Remember, it's faith, family, and then football. Faith, family, and then football. That's why I love Broski. That's why I love Bill, the Packer fan. That's why I love Mike the Bear fan, and Sarah, the Viking fan, the Viking Queen. Because I love the person. Just hate your team, and it's okay because we have faith, family, and then football in that order. We use football to spend time with our family, to create memories. We don't let football use us. And I leave you how I always leave you. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. And may the Lord shine his face upon you until we meet again. And that'll be Monday morning. Monday morning for the Villain Report. God bless you. Peace out.
Hey, yo, the lies so that you never make it. Hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, hands open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lots of sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes wet. Focus on the mental, never lose like a smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto. Choose when I get to, never lose, move on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we won it and maybe we just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision and pay me, it's never the sway me. Indigenous, maybe we winning, it's crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, it's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, it's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, it's your opportunity.